Welcome to clue 3 of the Geogradient. We're gonna knit 2 more sections this week with some slip stitches. The first couple sections were pretty simple with the knits and purls, I have to say, so it's time to spice things up. The most important thing this week as you knit the 2 new sections are that when you're slipping stitches looking at the right side, you're gonna slip stitches with yarn in front to create these beautiful floats. And when you're looking at the wrong side of the work, you're gonna slip stitches with the yarn in back, so that those floats occur to make a beautiful pattern. The floats occur on the right side of the fabric. So it might feel a little different from the previous slip stitch designs, but do exactly what's written in the instructions and this video and you'll be a-okay. Just focus on each row and get it set up. And we're going to use all 4 colors. So A, B, C, D, if you change the order of your colors in the previous section, so if instead of A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, if you did C, D, A, B, C, D, A, B, an order like this, then keep using that striping color order. So for sections, we're gonna do sections 11 and 12 this week. So if you ended with color B, then go with color C for your next stripe for this new section 11, okay? Basically just keep doing the striping order that you were doing in the previous section. So I think these sections are best with 4 colors. If you want to add extra color pops, it's your shawl and you can spice it up with some color opportunities, but otherwise just use the 4 colors as written. And my last tip for this week is don't forget about the Weavin Stephen. Weave in your ends as you go. I show you how to do that in this video, but it's really nice to have your ends all woven in when you knit this section. So use the Weavin Stephen to work those ends in as you knit, so you don't have to weave in dozens and dozens of ends later. So that's about it. We're gonna do some beautiful new sections with slip stitches, and the section 11 that I'm gonna show you right now continues off of section 10. Don't worry about the section numbers. You might have different sections in your shawl, but what the pattern refers to is whatever you just finished in clue 2 was section 10. We're gonna continue with those section 10 stitches to go into section 11. And then we'll do the other side of the shawl for section 12. Okay, let's learn all the techniques and add some beautiful new texture to the shawl. Section 11, zigzag slips. This section continues from the 176 stitches from section 10. So make sure those are on your working needle, looking at the right side. It should look just like this. Using color A, we're going to knit the first 2 stitches. Slip, slip, knit, knitwise, slip, knitwise, 2 together through the back loop for the slip, slip, knit. Slip 3 stitches onto left needle. Repeat from the asterisk 84 more times. 1, slip, slip, knit. That's the first time. This is the second time. Knit 2, slip, slip, knit. So we're gonna repeat from that 84 more times. So that's 85 total times for that slip, slip, knit. So we're basically going to be decreasing or binding off 85 total stitches. So keep on going, doing that repetition, and just keep on going until you're getting close to that stitch marker location. And I'll see you at the end of this repeat, and then we can count our stitches to make sure that we've done enough of these. Knit 2, slip, slip, knit, slip 3 stitches onto left needle. If you're doing that with the yarn in your right hand, knit 2, slip, slip, knit, slip the 3 stitches onto your left needle. We are doing an I-cord bind off with color A. Keep on going. Knit 2, slip, slip, knit, slip 3 stitches onto the left needle until 85 total stitches are bound off. If you want to start counting whenever I did that first one, it's right here. This was that first stitch that was bound off with that slip, slip, knit. And then this was the repeat number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to repeat 84 times. So I just did 5. Keep on going. As you bind off, make sure that your I-cord isn't too tight or too loose. So it shouldn't be ruffly and it shouldn't feel super rigid. It should have a little bit of stretch to it. So just take it easy. Okay, as you're reaching that final repeat, the 84 times, you should bind off all the stitches until you reach the first stitch marker. This is the 83rd repeat. And then remove the stitch marker. Remove that first marker, slip the 3 stitches onto the left needle, knit 2, slip, slip, knit. This should be the 84th time. So at this point, you could stop counting. Just remove that marker and then do the knit 2, slip, slip, knit, decreasing that first stitch in between the markers. So that was the 84th time. After you repeat from the asterisk 84 more times, your work should look like this. These 3 stitches, you should have 1 more stitch, and then the marker. Then the pattern says knit 2, slip, slip, knit. So 1 more time. The 3 stitches should be on your left needle. So this is the final time of that asterisk repeat. You have to slip the 3 stitches onto your left needle, and now the pattern says knit 2, slip, slip, knit. Knit 2, slip, slip, knit. Now you should have 3 stitches on your right needle. Remove that second stitch marker. And this is what your work should look like after binding off all of those stitches. So after you work your final knit 2, slip, slip, knit in the pattern, you should have 3 stitches on your right needle and you should have 87 stitches on your left needle. Okay, so do a little count. Make sure you have 87 total stitches on your left needle. If you don't, then maybe undo one of your slip, slip knits, or you could do an extra slip, slip knit if you have more than 87 stitches, okay? But this is the check. Make sure you have 87 stitches and 3 stitches here. So that's 90 total stitches, but 87 here, 3 there. Now, knit 4, make 1 20 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, make 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, make 1. Do that 20 total times. If you hold the yarn in your right hand, 1, 2, 3, 4, make 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, make 1. Make 1 after knitting 4 stitches. So do that 20 total times, and then I'll see you towards the end of the row. After you do the knit 4, make 1 20 times, there should be 7 stitches on your left needle. Knit 4, slip the last 3 with yarn in front. 1, 2, 3. You should have 110 stitches total on your needle. So you could do a little stitch count check to make sure you didn't miss any make 1 increases. There should be 110 stitches, including all of these stitches on your needle. Row 2, wrong side. Knit 2. 1, 2, slip, slip, knit. Knitwise, knitwise. Work those 2 together through the back loop. Slip, slip, knit. Purl 1. Slip 4 with yarn in back. So keep the yarn in the back and slip 1, 2, 3, 4. You're slipping all 4 stitches purlwise with yarn in back. Purl 4, the yarn needs to come forward to purl 4, 2, 3, 4. Slip 4 with yarn in back. So we're doing purl 4, slip 4 with yarn in back to the last 5 stitches. I just purled 4, slip 4 with yarn in back. 3, 4. Keep that yarn in the back, and then when you purl 4, the yarn has to come forward so that you can purl the next 4 stitches. So as you do that, just don't carry the yarn too tight along the back. You don't want it to be like that. You want the yarn to lay nice and relaxed on the back of the work over there. So I'm purling 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slip 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you slip those 4 stitches, don't have them be so bunched up like that. Just let them be normal on your right needle. And then the yarn has enough distance to casually float because you held the yarn in back. And then purl 4. Let's do that for you right-handed English style knitters. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Slip 4 with yarn in back. Put the yarn in the back to slip 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep them nice and relaxed on the right needle, and then you need to purl 4. So bring the yarn in between that gap. Don't take the yarn on top of the needle. That's a no-no. So you slipped 4 with the yarn in back. Bring the yarn forward to purl 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep on doing that. Purl 4, slip 4. So I just purled 4, slip 4 with yarn in back. The yarn goes to the back to slip 1, 2, 3, 4. Bring the yarn forward to purl 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep on going. Slip 4 with yarn in back. 1, 2. Be careful of those make 1 increases. Make sure you don't drop them off of the needle as you're slipping them. There's my slip 4. Bring the yarn forward to purl 4. So just like that, make sure your fabric you're not knitting too tight. Just keep it nice and relaxed, just like normal. Don't think about it too much. 1, 2, 3, 4, and slip 4 with yarn in back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Always make sure that the yarn is in back on the wrong side when you slip. After you slip 4, make sure you bring the yarn forward to purl 4. Keep on going, and I'll see you at the end of this row. Row 3, right side. Knit 4. Slip 4 with yarn in front. Bring the yarn forward and slip 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches purlwise. Again, be very careful when you're slipping those make 1 stitches to make sure they don't untwist. If they fall off, then just make sure you get them back on the needle. So I just slipped 4 with yarn in front, knit 4. The yarn needs to go behind the work, so we're creating these floats on the right side. Knit 1, 2, 3, and 4. Slip 4 with yarn in front. Whenever we're slipping stitches, we're never slipping the exact same 4 stitches. We're always staggering the slips 1 stitch to the right for now. Sometimes they'll go to the left, but these were the previous 4 stitches, and now this stitch wasn't slipped before, but we're gonna slip it now. Slip 4 with yarn in front. Take these rows really slow, really focused. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slip 4 with yarn in front. We're gonna do this to the last 5 stitches. Knit 4, slip 4, knit 4, slip 4. Bring the yarn forward to slip. 2, 3, 4. Knit 4. Take the yarn to the back. Whenever you knit 4, don't choke the stitches really tight. Just keep the yarn nice and relaxed, floating gently across those 4 stitches, spaced out like that. Knit 4. Slip 4 with yarn in front. 1, 2, 3, 4. Knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you hold the yarn in your right hand, when you slip 4 with yarn in front, bring the yarn forward. Slip 4 purlwise. Knit 4. Take the yarn to the back. Don't pull it too tight. Just let it gently float on top of those 4 stitches. Knit 1, 2, 3, 4. Slip 4 with yarn in front. Bring the yarn forward to slip. 1, 2, 3, 4. You could get them all at once like that. Take the yarn to the back. Knit 4. Slip 4 with yarn in front. 1, 2, 3, 4. Knit 4. Keep on following this all the way to the last 5 stitches. Knit 4, slip 4 with yarn in front to last 5 stitches. I'm at the last 5 stitches. I just finished my slip 4 with yarn in front, knit 2, and slip 3 with yarn in front. Always slip the last 3 stitches with yarn in front. Row 4, wrong side. We're always going to decrease at the beginning of row 4, wrong side. So the beginning of every wrong side row begins with knit 2, slip, slip, knit. Purl 2, slip 4 with yarn in back. Keep the yarn in back, or take the yarn to the back. You just purled 2, so take the yarn to the back. To slip 4 with yarn in back. Purl 4, bring the yarn forward to purl 4. Slip 4 with yarn in back. The yarn is in back as you slip 4. Purl 4. I'll show that for you English style knitters, holding the yarn in your right hand. Purl 4. 3 and 4. Slip 4 with yarn in back. Take the yarn to the back to slip 4. Purl 4. Again, don't pull the yarn too tight. Just keep it nice and relaxed. Purl 4. Slip 4 with yarn and back. Take the yarn to the back. You could slip all 4 at once if you want. Just like that. And remember, when you bring the yarn forward, don't have the stitches so tight and bunched up on your needle. Just keep them nice and relaxed. So as you bring the yarn forward, don't pull it too tight. It's just going to float along that other side, looking like that. Purl 4, slip 4 to last 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slip 4 with yarn and back. Always slip with the yarn and back on the wrong side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Purl 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and slip 4 with yarn and back. Keep on going until you reach the last 3 stitches. At the end of row 4, I'm working my final slip 4 with yarn and back. So the yarn is in back. And then you have to slip 3 with yarn in front. Just bring the yarn forward to slip the last 3 with yarn in front, just like that. Row 5, right side. You should have 108 stitches after row 4. Row 5, knit 3. 1, 2, 3. Slip 3 with the yarn in front. Knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slip 4 with yarn in front. Bring the yarn forward to slip. Always slip with the yarn in front on the right side. And then knit 4. Follow these rows very closely, and you see how those slips are becoming staggered, how they're traveling to the right with color A. So right now they're traveling to the right. Later they're going to travel the other direction to make a really cool zigzag. But for now, make sure that it's always slipping one more stitch to the right with color A for this first stripe. And it's going to make this really beautiful kind of a woven effect on the right side. And again, make sure that your slips aren't super, super tight. It should be kind of relaxed. Make sure there's no severe tightness happening. If there is, then just loosen up. And remember to slip your stitches with the stitches spread out onto the needle, like this. Follow these rows very closely, and every now and then you could double check your stitch count to make sure you're on the right track. But keep on going, slipping with yarn in front on the right side. You're slipping with the yarn in back on the wrong side, and you're always working a slip, slip, knit towards the beginning of the wrong side. Follow those rows closely. We are working 8 total rows with color A. After you finish row 8, you should have 106 stitches, and your work should look like this with color A. Break color A. Use color B for the next stripe. We're going to work each color in its order, just like we did for previous sections. So we just finished color A. Then we're going to work color B for the next 8 rows, and then color C for the next 8 rows. And then whenever the pattern says using next color, always use the next color in your color order. We're going to work 8 rows of each color. We just did A, and then B, 8 rows, C, 8 rows, D, 8 rows, and then again, A for 8 rows, B for 8 rows. So keep working that A, B, C, D color order. Let's join color B for the pattern repeat, row 9. Using next color, knit 3. leave a tail, leave a little short tail of yarn as you knit 3. 1, 2, 3. Slip 4 with yarn in front. Bring the yarn forward to slip 1, 2, 3, 4. Knit 4, slip 4 with yarn in front to last 3 stitches. So take the yarn to the back. As you knit 4, knit 1. I'm going to take those little tails of yarn, my broken color A and my new little color B tail, and I'm going to work the Weavin Stephen only after my knit stitches. So I'm knitting 4. 1, 2. Work the Weavin Stephen to weave in your ends as you introduce these new colors. 3 and 4. Slip 4 with yarn in front. Bring the yarn forward. Slip 1, 2, 3, 4. Take the yarn to the back to knit 4. And remember, don't choke the stitches too tight. Keep that float going nice and relaxed across those evenly spaced stitches on your right needle. As you slipped 4 with yarn in front, now knit 4. 1. Let's keep doing the Weavin Stephen for about 12 stitches or so. 2, 3. If you don't do this Weavin Stephen trick, then that's okay. You could weave in your ends later, but this means you'll have less finishing at the end of your project. I just knitted 4, slip 4 with yarn in front. 1, 2, 3, 4, and knit 4. I'm going to do that Weavin Stephen for this last group of stitches to be extra safe. 2, 3, and 4. There, I'm done with the Weavin Stephen, so you can just let those tails of yarn hang out on the wrong side. After you knit 4, slip 4 with yarn in front. 3, 4. Knit 4. Keep on following row 9, knit 4, slip 4 with yarn in front to last 3 stitches. And it should look like this. At the end of row 9, when you slip 4 with yarn in front for the final time, so you did that knit 4, slip 4 with yarn in front to last 3 stitches, slip 3 with yarn in front. So keep the yarn in front and you're slipping 3 with yarn in front as well. So altogether, you're slipping 7 stitches with yarn in front. That's a lot. So your yarn is just hanging out in the front. That's normal. Turn around to the wrong side. The yarn is now in the back. So it looks like this. Knit 2, slip, slip, knit. Just keep that yarn in the back and don't think about it too much. Just knit the first 2 stitches. Don't knit them too tightly. And as you do that, you're going to get this really big float happening over there. So knit 2, slip, slip, knit. Slip 2 with yarn in back. Keep the yarn in back. As you slip 2 with yarn in back, purl 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slip 4 with yarn in back. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to purl 4, slip 4 with yarn in back to last 4 stitches. So after you slipped 4 with the yarn in back, bring the yarn forward to purl 4. Slip 4 with yarn in back. take the yarn to the back, and this is what your work should look like. Slipping 1, 2, 3, 4. Bring the yarn forward to purl 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. As you're working these slip stitches, your work might feel a little bit tighter, and that's normal with the slip stitches. The fabric's going to feel a little bit tighter. As long as you can still slide your stitches on your needle, you're okay. So keep those stitches nice and relaxed on the right needle as you work. Row 10, slip 4 with yarn in back, purl 4. Keep on going. At the end of row 10, I just did my final slip 4 with yarn in back, purl 1, and slip 3 with yarn in front for those last 4 stitches. 1 stitch was decreased on the wrong side row. Row 11, follow these rows very closely and look at what's happening now. We're continuing to do that. The knit 4, slip 4, the purl 4, slip 4, but now our slips are going to be traveling to the left 1 stitch each time. Row 11, right side, knit 5, 3, 4, 5, slip 4 with yarn in front. Bring the yarn forward, 1, 2, 3, 4. So follow these rows very closely. It's going to get easier as you repeat these rows. But these are all of the slip stitch techniques you need to know to work this section. And I'll see you towards the end of this section so we can see what the fabric looks like and make sure that your work looks just like mine. But follow the rows closely, and every now and then you could do a little check to make sure that you're getting that nice little zigzag traveling to the right, and then the next stripe travel to the left, and then to the right and to the left. Keep on going, and I'll see you towards the end of this section. This is what section 11 is looking like with the zigzag slips. They're slipping and slanting in one direction and then the other direction to make this nice zigzag, working 8 rows of each color. To help you count your rows as you're working this section, you can count your I-cord stitches, and when you see 1, 2, 3, 4 I-cord stitches of each color, you know you've completed your 8-row stripe, because each I-cord row represents 2 worked rows. But follow the pattern closely, and I'm reaching the end on row 207, so I'm knitting 4 on the right side, and slip the last 3 with yarn in front. Row 208, wrong side, knit 2, slip, slip, knit, and slip the last 3 stitches with yarn in front. Break your yarn, and we're going to graft the remaining 6 stitches together using Kitchener stitch. So we need a tapestry needle, and look at the last 3 stitches. We need to place 3 of them on one needle and 3 of them on the other needle, but the needles need to be pointing the same way. So when you slip your stitches, the first 3 stitches, you could slip them onto this needle, but this needle tip needs to point the other way. So take it out and put it back in like this. And now the needle tips are pointing the same direction. So your last 6 stitches should look like this. Place that tail of yarn that you just broke onto your tapestry needle, and we'll work some Kitchener stitch. Go through the first stitch on the front needle purlwise, leave it on. Go through the first stitch on the back needle knitwise, leave it on. Now go through the first stitch on the front needle knitwise and take it off. And go through the next front needle stitch purlwise and leave it on. The back needle, we're going to go through the first stitch purlwise and take it off. And then go through the next back needle stitch knitwise. Leave it on. And the front needle, we're going to go knitwise, take it off. And then the next stitch purlwise, leave it on. The back needle, pause, stitching, chill out. The back needle, we're going to go purlwise, take it off. And then the next stitch on the back needle, knitwise, leave it on. And to finish, the front needle goes knitwise off and then purlwise off. And that's a completed Kitchener stitch. So you could poke that tail to the wrong side of this little corner and we can start to weave in the ends. So I was doing the Weavin Stephen, trapping my yarn tails along the wrong side, but if you forgot to do that, then we're gonna weave in our ends on the wrong side. So take some time now to weave in your ends. There's no right or wrong way. I just like doing a whip stitch along the wrong side. And for these small little rows at the corner, just keep on going through some strands on the wrong side for like 10 or 12 times. You can kind of zigzag back and forth, and that's good. And sometimes I like to take 2 strands at the same time. So you could just go through some loops on the wrong side, zigzag back and forth here at the tip. A couple more times. And then once you're done weaving in the ends, you can just cut the yarns and not too close to the fabric. Cut them about right here. So I'm going to take a couple more tails that I forgot to weave in earlier and take time to weave them in. I'm going to do a little whip stitch along the wrong side. It takes just a little bit of time, but it's worth it to have this nice finished section without too many messy ends hanging everywhere. And that's enough. This is the completed section 11 with the zigzag slips. So it should look something like this. And when you're done, we're going to use the working needle for the other wingtip for section 12. Section 12. This section begins with the 176 live stitches from section 9. So these are on my spare circular needle. I'm going to use my new working needle to start working with the right side of these stitches. If these stitches are onto waste yarn, then place them onto your working needle. Row 1, right side. Using color A, knit 2, slip, slip, knit. We're using our main working needle and color A. Knit 4, make 1 20 times. 3, 4, and make 1. We're going to do that 20 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and make 1. If you hold the yarn in your right hand, knit 1, 2, 3, 4, and make 1. Keep on going until you do the knit 4, make 1 20 times. I just did a knit 4, make 1 20 times. Knit 3, remove the marker, knit 2, and remove the second marker. Knit 84, or knit to the last 3 stitches. I just knitted 84 stitches and then slip the last 3 stitches with yarn in front. Row 2, wrong side. We are going to bind off some stitches using the I-cord bind off. Knit 2, 1, 2, slip, slip, knit, slip those 3 stitches onto the left needle. 1, 2, 3. Repeat from the asterisk 84 more times. That's going to bind off 84 more stitches. What's going to help you keep track of 84 times? You could take your split ring marker if you have one, or some waste yarn. So we have the 3 I-cord stitches on our left needle. We're going to repeat knit 2, slip, slip, knit, slip 3 stitches. We're going to do that 84 more times. So that slip, slip, knit is going to be worked 84 more times. So if this is the first repeat of a slip, slip, knit, and this will be the second one, and the third, 4, 5, count 84 of those stitches and place a split ring marker after those 84 stitches. And so you know when you reach the marker, you will have done that instruction 84 more times. So the first 3 stitches, and after those 3 stitches, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 84 stitches. And then you could place a marker to help you know how many repeats you've done. I just placed a split ring marker after 84 stitches, so I can now just repeat the instructions without counting so much. So this was stitch 1, and then this was stitch 84 right there. And then after stitch 84, I placed a marker. If you're including these 3 I-cord stitches, then it's 87 total stitches. And then you could place a little marker there to help you count. So keep on going. Knit 2, slip, slip, knit. So here's my first repeat. Knit 2, slip, slip, knit, and slip those 3 stitches onto the left needle. That was the first time. Here's the second time. Knit 2, slip, slip, knit, slip 3 stitches onto the left needle. Keep on repeating. Knit 2, slip, slip, knit, and slip those 3 stitches onto the left needle. Keep on going until you've done that 84 more times total, but that stitch marker is really going to help you. So whenever you reach that stitch marker, you know that when you do a slip, slip, knit to bind off this final stitch before the marker, that's 84 more times. This is the 84th repeat of the knit 2, slip, slip, knit. And I know that's the 84th time because I used my marker to help me count. I can take that marker off. And then don't forget to slip 3 onto the left needle. So I just repeated from the asterisk 84 more times. Now, knit 2, slip, slip, knit once more. You should have 3 stitches on your right needle. And then the pattern says to slip 3 with yarn and back, but before doing the next instructions, you could double check your stitch count. And after you did that final knit 2, slip, slip, knit, you should have 109 total stitches on your needle, including those 3 stitches that you just knit. So all of these stitches, go ahead and count and make sure you have 109 stitches now after doing that final knit 2, slip, slip, knit. If you don't have 109, then you could do an extra decrease, or you could sneak in an extra increase if you need to. So get back on track. Make sure you have 109 stitches. I just did the knit 2, slip, slip, knit, and now I'm ready to slip 3 with yarn and back. Purl 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, slip 4 with yarn and back, purl 4 to last 3 stitches. Slip 4, 2, 3, 4, and bring the yarn forward to purl 4, 2, 3, and 4. Slip 4 with yarn and back, 1, 2, 3, 4. And bring the yarn forward to purl 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep on going. Slip 4 with yarn and back, purl 4 to last 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4 with the yarn and back, and then bring the yarn forward to purl. I am at the last 3 stitches and I just purled 4. Slip the last 3 with yarn in front. Row 3, right side. Knit 2, slip, slip, knit. We're going to work this knit 2, slip, slip, knit at the beginning of every right side row. Slip, slip, knit. And work those 2 together through the back loop. So we just decreased 1 stitch, knit 2, slip, slip, knit. I have 108 stitches now after that slip, slip, knit. Knit 4, 2, 3, 4. Slip 4 with yarn in front, knit 4 to last 5 stitches. I need to slip 4 with yarn in front. 1, 2, 3, 4. And knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and slip 4 with yarn in front. 1, 2, 3, 4, and knit 4. Take the yarn back to knit 4. We're going to be making the same texture as section 11, so we'll be making these zigzag stripes, working 8 rows with each color. Don't forget to weave in your ends as you knit. I should have done that at the beginning of this right side row, but I could do that on the next right side row. If you forget about it, you could always get those 2 strands and do the Weavin Stephen, or just weave in the ends as you knit. So keep on going and following the rows closely to get the same zigzag slip stitch texture. Remember that the decrease always happens at the beginning of the right side, and on the wrong side of section 12, there's no decreases. So we're working with all of these stitches, decreasing 1 stitch every right side row at the beginning of the right side. I am at the end of section 12, and this is what the zigzag slips should look like. Make sure you have the recommended number of rows and repeats and stitches. So pay close attention and make sure that you get those nice zigzags happening with the slips. I just broke my final color as I was decreasing to 6 final stitches. So I just broke color B, and we need to graft the remaining 6 stitches together using Kitchener stitch. So this is the right side. I need to place these 3 stitches like this onto this needle tip. So both needle tips are facing the same direction, and the purl bumps are kissing each other, the I-cords. So these are the sets of 3 I-cord stitches. Place that broken tail of yarn onto your tapestry needle, and we'll graft the stitches just like we did for the section 11 tip. Go through the first stitch purlwise, go through the back stitch knitwise. On the front needle, we go knitwise off, and the front needle, the next stitch, we go purlwise, leave it on. The back needle, purlwise off, knitwise on the back needle, leave it on. The front needle, knitwise off, purlwise, leave it on. The back needle, purlwise off, knitwise, leave it on. And then go through the front needle stitch knitwise and the back needle stitch purlwise. That's the end of clue 3. Go ahead and poke that tail to the wrong side, and you can weave in your ends just like you did for the other tip. And when there are so few rows here at the tip of this section, you can do a little zigzag action going this way, and now weave in the end going the other direction, and just find any bumps on the wrong side to weave in your ends. Let's zigzag and go this direction once more. There's a bump. So take some time to weave in all of your ends. A couple more to be safe, and then you can snip your ends. That's enough. And then I need to weave in a few more ends, but the rest of them I did the Weavin Stephen as I was knitting, so it looks like that. Section 12. Here is the completed clue 3, and it's finally starting to look like a shawl. In the beginning, we didn't quite know where it was going, but I think you might have a little bit more of a clear understanding of what kind of shape we're starting to make. It's still not done. We still got lots of yarn left for clue 4. So this is what your clue 3 should look like with these symmetrical wingtips here with the slip stitches. And this beautiful pink and orange version is knit by Pink Queen Yarns by my friend Enos, and she did her own modification for the Clue 1 center, and I love how her juicy colors are transforming, and that stitch detail with the slip stitches with the yarn in front is making the most beautiful little zigzag effect. So this is what those Clue 3 textures should look like. If yours doesn't look like this, then just accept it, and it's a design variation. If your slip stitches are looking a little different and making a different pattern, then you might need to restart and do pay close attention to those rows to get that pattern going. But as long as you like the textures, it's your shawl. It's all about the colors and the stripiness. So don't worry too much if there was a row or two that was a little off. Just keep on going. And the final section is my favorite one coming around the corner. So as you get ready for next week, that's the week in Clue 4 where I'm going to give you lots of options. So if you have a kitchen scale handy, this could be your best friend for Clue 4. So something to weigh your yarn leftovers to make sure you can maximize your shawl size and get the most out of your yarn. But I'm going to give you some options, okay? If you just have a little bit of yarn left over, then we can just finish it quickly. If you have a lot of yarn left over, then we can knit a big, beautiful Clue 4 and even add an optional feature with all those leftover yarn bits to use up all your yarn to make a big shawl. So get those wingtips made. We have sections 11 and 12, beautiful texture, and I can't wait to take you toward the end of the shawl and show you this new technique that I discovered. At least for me, it's new. It was the first time I tried it, and we're gonna do it next week. And I think it's gonna blow your mind. It's really beautiful. So get ready, and I'll see you next week for the final clue.